Joining us on the line is brand new Daily Wire personality, Allison Williams. So you may know Allison's story in brief because, of course, it was national news last week. She resigned from ESPN rather than subjecting herself to being fired by ESPN over their vaccine mandate. Allison joins us on the line. Allison, how are you doing?
What's up? Buenos dias from Mexico. I'm good. I'm in Baja, so life is good right now.
So for those who missed the story, what exactly happened at ESPN? Because you were there for a decade. You were there for a very long time. You're doing sideline reporting. And then what sort of drove the wedge?
The mandate. I mean, that was what this all boiled down to. And I kind of, it just gets under my skin when I hear that I quit. I don't feel like I quit. I feel like I was forced to leave. I mean, the notion that I made a decision and therefore it's my decision. That's not a decision. I mean, the decision between getting an injection or keeping your job is not a true decision, right? So that was what it came down to. I requested accommodation. I went through all the necessary legal and HR steps to see if there was a way I could work safely without being a burden to the company. And they decided that that was not an option. I had hosted virtually for them in the past. I thought maybe there'd be some role for me in that capacity, but they decided that there was not, and that if I did not get the injection, I could not be employed by the company.
So Allison, on a personal level, obviously, you already had COVID fairly early on.
Yeah.
And also you were trying to get pregnant and you had questions about COVID injections and vaccines for people who are attempting to get pregnant. And there's been, CDC says it's safe, but the fact is the CDC's been wrong before. And there are a lot of people who have questions about that sort of stuff. This is why it should be an individual decision. They had nothing to say about the fact that you already had natural immunity?
No, that does not matter at all in any of this, which to me just screams how illogical this all is. Everything we know about immunity going back hundreds of years is that natural immunity is far superior. And we're learning that as we go with COVID, right? There's, I think, 60 studies out right now comparing natural immunity to vaccinated immunity. And everything is showing that natural immunity is superior, it lasts longer, and so on and so forth. But that was never even a question. I mean, this was literally just about compliance or not. You complied and you worked, or you didn't and you didn't work. I did have concerns. I do have concerns in relation to this vaccine. Look, I understand safe and effective, right? I understand that the CDC says that it's safe for women in pregnancy, that it doesn't impact fertility. That's all based on what we know at this time. Science changes, research changes. It is so new. No studies were done in regards to fertility. There were no pregnant women involved in the clinical trials. That means the first person that got this injection after the emergency use authorization that was pregnant was the first test subject. That for me is just not enough to take the risk, right? Like, this is a risk benefit analysis. Everything we do in life has risk, and you have to weigh it against the benefit. For me, having had COVID, benefit, pretty nil to getting this injection. Risk, even if it's 0.1%, why take that? Why jeopardize having a child when I want, even if it just delays it a few months? I don't want to take that risk. There isn't a benefit to outweigh the risk for me when it comes to getting this.
So, Allison, obviously, I'm sure you're still speaking with friends who are at ESPN. What's been the general tenor of the situation over at ESPN? How many people are just fine with the vaccine mandate, and how many people over there that you're talking to are upset with this sort of stuff coming from ESPN, which, again, is an increasingly woke territory just generally?
I think it's a bit mixed, Ben, to be honest. Everybody that's reached out has been beyond supportive. People that I was actually surprised to hear from. I knew how they felt about the vaccine. I knew how they lean politically. And I was really surprised how many people reached out and just said, we support you. We're sorry you're in this position. We respect your decision. And some of them would even say, look, I don't necessarily agree, but I understand why you're making the decision you are. And isn't what we all ultimately want? Like, I don't expect them to say, you're doing the right thing and I 100% support you. But the fact that you can respect somebody making a different decision than you, that's what this is all about. And that's what's being lost right now with the divide. But I also don't want to kid myself, Ben. Like, there's people that I haven't heard from, and their silence speaks volumes. And they are people who have been there for me throughout every step of my career and who have been incredibly supportive and who I know what is going on and haven't said anything. And I think that speaks volumes as well. But I will say I have been overwhelmed with support from people who are on air, people who have worked behind the scenes, people who I've never even met that have reached out and said, hey, I was at ESPN2 or I'm here now. And the other part of this that I think bothers me more than anything is the people that reached out and said, I didn't want to get it, and I got it to keep my job, and I'm pulling for you. And that kind of breaks my heart because I know how how probably powerless and helpless they felt in making the decision that they didn't want to make to keep their job and provide for their families. And that's what this is about. This should not be a position anybody in America is in.
Well, Allison, their loss is our gain. Obviously, you're going to be working with us now. We're really excited to be doing that, and you're going to be taking on some of the controversial topics in the sporting world. Can you talk a little bit about the kind of stuff that you'd like to cover?
First of all, thank you, because I'm so excited, and I'm so excited we were able to move quickly with this, because I think the timing was important to show people that you might have to walk away from one opportunity or one career, but there is something else out there. And I hope people take some hope from seeing me kind of land on my feet so quickly after the departure from what was really my dream. I'm excited. I'm really excited to work with the Daily Wire. I think we're going to be able to get into some issues that are a bit too taboo for a lot of mainstream media outlets, ESPN included. I want to dig into these vaccine mandates. I want to talk to the athletes and coaches whose lives are being directly impacted by them. And it is a rapidly changing and evolving landscape, and people are in some precarious positions. You saw what happened at Barclays yesterday with the protest in support of Kyrie Irving. How accurately is that being covered? How did it resonate with him? Auburn University, just announced that they'll be implementing these federal mandates. What does that do for their football team and their athletics department? We saw what happened at Washington State with Nick Rolovich. Have we really told his side of the story? There's such bias in media right now against people who are standing up to these mandates or who are not complying. And I don't feel like their stories are being accurately told. And I want to do that. And I'm so happy for the Daily Wire and so thankful to the Daily Wire that they support that.
Well, that is Allison Williams, brand new here at Daily Wire. Allison, we're really excited about working with you. And folks, if you would like to support Allison's work and what we do when we try and bring people in from the cold after the woke culture goes after them, then head on over to dailywire.com/subscribe. Use code do not comply for 25% off. Allison, enjoy Mexico and look forward to working with you.
Gracias. Adios.
We're in a battle for the culture and for our values. Like and subscribe to help keep our videos on the front line of the fight and top of your feed.